Shalom. I want to start off by giving all glory, praises, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the brothers that's teaching this truth and sincerity. Shalom to the Ophel elect. 1/3 sincere listeners. All right. We want scattered abroad. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. And Yahweh Shai being the name of his Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right, this gospel, this truth is for the Israelites, who are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, God's chosen people. The kingdom of heaven, salvation is for you. All right. Today's title, I'm going to be calling it, When You Become a Man, Playtime is Over. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to let the scripture speak, but that's just the title, right? When you become a man, playtime is over. All the fun and games is pretty much over. Okay? And that's not to say you can't have fun, can't have downtime, right? But you need to operate as a man, especially if you're in this truth, as a man of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, right? And there's a certain level of maturity and conduct you gotta move with, right? So let's get some scriptures, nor will you be edified. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 says, "When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things." Okay? And that's exactly us in our situation. All right? We had to put away, when we came into this truth, we had to put away folly, so to speak, childish things, old ways, childish ways. Okay? We had to buckle up. We had to become more stern and, carry ourselves with more seriousness, right? And that's just to say, that's not to say brothers can't joke and laugh, even amongst one another. We joke and laugh amongst one another because we have the most. Our humor is the darkest humor on the earth. All right, you think Esau has dark humor? Our humor is darker. All right. But our humor is righteousness through Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? So we can joke and laugh amongst ourselves, and you can see, certain brothers have a more laughing spirit to them or whatever. But it's through the spirit. It's not just folly. It's not just laughing for laughing's sake. It's laughing because we have the truth and these people don't. And they're going to be fucked, right? The scriptures talk about us laughing, at death. You know what I'm saying? And I myself, I laugh at stuff like that, man. I was watching Final Destination, the newest one, right? And I was laughing when I seen people get whacked. I'm so lucky. Not to say I'm lucky, but I'm lucky I saw it at home. Instead of watching it in the theaters, because people would probably think I'm crazy. I'm just laughing at people getting whacked, because I'm looking at it like, that's the judgment of the Heavenly Father, and these people are wicked as fuck. You know what I mean? So I'm just laughing. I'm like, and I'm also laughing because this is gonna happen to you wicked ass people as well. You know what I mean? The way these people were getting taken out, I was just, it was humorous. Let's see. This is Job 5 and 22. It says, "At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. And I was in KJV. In the NLT, it says, you will laugh at destruction and famine, and animals will not terrify you. Right? So when we're seeing people getting whacked, Most High taking these people out, getting judged, man. All right, we're gonna laugh. The Most High is gonna put a cold spirit on us to laugh, and he's putting that cold spirit on us as we speak, man. As we move towards this destruction. Okay, and you see what's going on as well. Okay, World War III, so-called brewing, man. You know, America just striked Iran with missiles, supposed nuclear sites, right? Where they're doing uranium enrichment, so to speak. And we're in a time of war right now. You know what I mean? Okay, it's not a play thing. It's not a game. Okay, people getting blown up, people getting taken out. It's just smoke on all sides. All right. And long story short, just because you might see a brother that's laughing, don't mean that brother don't have a serious spirit on him. You know, like the tribe of Ashar, they're supposed to be known as being happy, right? But that don't mean the Lord ain't gonna put a spirit on them to be, to be judges. It's just that they might be judging. Let's just put it this way. One brother might be furious and executing judgment, and one brother might be, sinisterly laughing while executing judgment. It just all depends on your spirit, right? It all depends on your spirit, man. You know what I mean? It's all of the Lord at the end of the day, right? But let's get some scriptures going back to the point. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. It says, fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Okay? And that's what we're supposed to do as men. We're supposed to fear the Most High. Okay? Part of the reason why you men don't have no order, because you don't fear the Most High, man. You have no conduct about yourself. You're just out willy-nilly doing whatever. No structure. Right? Your life's in chaos because you never made Yahweh Shem Yahshai your rock. Right? You don't know how to deal with women because you never made Yahweh Shem Yahshai your rock. You don't know how to deal with your children because you never made Yahweh Shem Yahshai your rock. Right? And speaking of children, brothers, when brothers do have children, brothers try to be the best father they can be according to what the Lord will allow them to. I know brothers will do anything for the children in their ability, man. You know what I mean? And I got a video coming up on that as well. But like at a time of having children, you become more serious because it's no longer about you, so to speak, anymore. It's not about you anymore. It's about your offspring. And it's not to say it's not about you, right? You gotta have balance, right? But it's also really the Lord is gonna see: are you for me, or are you just are you for your seed? Are you the Lord's testing you when He gives you these things as well, right? But it's all in balance, and that comes with understanding the scriptures, having faith, being a faithful servant, right? This is 1 Kings 2 and 2. It says, be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God. All right. And this is Joshua 1 and 9. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage, for the Lord Yahweh thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. All right. And we got to understand and believe that wholeheartedly, right? That the Lord is with us in all things, man. Okay. 1 Corinthians 16 and 13. It says, watch ye and fast in the faith. acquit you like men. Be strong. Let all your things be done with charity. All right? So show yourselves men. Paul went through a lot, man. Paul was dealing with a lot. You know what I mean? And in his excursions, when he was going out and teaching the word, right? Dealing with shipwrecks, people trying to kill him, right? Fucking snake attacks. Right? Now, I'm not saying brothers won't go through certain things, but like the Lord has put us in a position where we don't have to go through what the apostles of old have gone through. You know what I mean? Things are a little different now, right? Because over time, men have gotten weaker through age, right? So the Lord's not going to put us in a situation that we can't handle according to our measure, right? You know what I mean? And it's not to say you might not, you might get stung you might not get bit by a snake, but you might get stung by a wasp. You know what I mean? But that's a light affliction. You know what I mean? These are just things to consider. That's a part of the battle, so to speak. That doesn't mean the Lord's not dealing with you. You know what I mean? Micah 6:8. He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. And really, we're supposed to keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. And, that's a masculine trait. To follow after Yahweh Shem Yahushai is a masculine thing. Okay? It brings order. When you follow after the Most High, it brings order, establishes order. All right? And through order comes a legacy, man. It's deeper than just order. It's deeper than just order. You're right. You'll gain a legacy based off of this, man. Your faithfulness will have your name written in the book of life, right? You see what I'm saying? And it leads, everything we do for the Most High, it leads to life, man. Keeping the laws, it leads to life. All right. Proverbs 22:29. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. Right. Being diligent in Yahweh, on Yahweh Shem Yahushai's business. Being fervent in this thing, man. Okay? Going out on the highways and byways. Doing your videos. Being charitable. All right? Any way you can to help out the ministry. Right? There's a fire that burns in you. You got to teach, man. Okay? If you have this word, there should be a fire in you that wants to teach. Prophesy unto the wind, man. You want to teach. At first when you come into this truth, you want to teach everybody, but that's not the case, man. But the Lord set it up to where we've done so much research and gained so much knowledge that we're able to now prophesy unto the wind online and cast the net spiritually, cast the fishing net, so to speak, and be fishers of men through the World Wide Web, right? And honestly, through that principle, I'm going to take that as well for my own experience, even use it in the world, because if you have a business, you want to attract your ideal customer, right? So knowing that the Lord has his ideal elect, with that mindset, the Lord chooses who he needs. Let's just say you are to go into a business of some sort, you offer a service. Just go into that business knowing that somebody needs this service. So not everybody needs it, but somebody somewhere out there needs this service, right? So cast out that line, cast out that net, right? But mainly, obviously, for the Lord's work, you know what I mean? But I'm talking like for brothers that may not want to work for Esau, so to speak. You don't want to deal with that corporate structure, and you want to find a way to get out of it. But the scriptures say, by the sweat of thy brow thou shalt live. So you still have to work. You just want to be able to work for yourself, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? The Lord didn't say you couldn't work for yourself, right? If working for Esau doesn't work for you, that corporate shit, if it doesn't work for you, then you learn a skill or a trade or have a business, start a business, service, whatever. And you know what I mean? Try and figure out your way out of, maneuver your way out of that thing, man. Okay? Because our spirit, it ain't meant, really, that our spirit ain't meant for all that. However, we do what we got to do. We're Jake, we could supplant, right? But, anyways, moving on. This is 2nd Ezra 14. Let me get this. This is 2nd Ezra 14 and 13. Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Right? Get your house in order, man. Okay, you know that time is short. You know that the Lord's coming back. You want to make sure you're standing firm and you're not doing anything that will displease him. All right, and cause him to not grant you salvation. Right? So you're gonna do the best you can. That's what the Apostle Tahar and the elders on down and brothers in Great Millstone are doing. We're admonishing one another every day. Iron sharpening iron. Right? We're sharpening each other up every day. Trying to be better every day. Do better every day. Right? Trimming the fat. Let go fro the mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature. Right? And in this society, you have a lot of a lot of effeminate entities and energy going on, especially amongst men. That's because the man that's ruling the society, the so-called white man, Esau Edom, he's a very effeminate individual, man. Okay? He's a F-bomb. Straight up. Okay? And through that, because he's the ruler of the people now pretty much pretty much follow under his vibration. That's what I'm trying to say. People follow out under his vibration because he's very effeminate. And then when you are who you are as a man, okay, as a man of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he's offended by that. And no matter how cordial and polite you so-called want to be, they know there's an enmity between the two of us, man, between Jacob and Esau. All right, between the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans against the so-called white man. Okay? They know there's a difference between our nation and them. Okay? It's you Jakes that really don't know that, man. Okay? And I want to do a video on that too, like, not about making race an issue, but it's just the truth. The Lord wants it that way. You don't, in life, you have that ideology where you don't want to make things about race. But you have to be real with yourself, man. Okay? So I'm probably gonna do a video on that as well. Verse 15, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. Right? Just bear it. Bear the indignation, bear the what the Lord is putting you through. Not necessarily indignation, even though we are going to do that. But the Lord puts you through tests. And sometimes the tests come with stress, anxiety, doubt, not doubt of this truth, but just doubt, like mortal thoughts. But that's what the Lord said, put off mortal thoughts, right? But even, the Lord could put you in certain mortal, fleshly situations, and you just gotta know how to operate. You gotta rely back onto the scriptures in that sense, man. You can't let it, consume you and consume your mind, and that's why knowing this truth is the balance, is the overall balance, because it's like, if the Lord put you through certain situations and you never had this truth, you would have you might crash out, honestly. You know what I mean? But because you have this truth, you're moving with precision and intelligence and wisdom through Yahweh Shem Yahushai, going through the proper channels, right? It says, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than thou those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. So anything that you're going through right now, brothers, okay, greater things are coming. So it really, whatever we're going through right now is really a walk in the park compared to the times to come, compared to what the world is about to experience. And the Lord will be of his elect. He's putting us through these trivial matters, so to speak, to preserve us from taking part of the judgment of a 2/3 judgment, because those are the ones that are going to get fucked up out here. For real. Right? Because if the Lord got you, he got you. All right? I'm going to end it off there. So with that, I'm going to say, Lord, Shalom, Lord, will you're edified.